What's up, everybody? A Ward here, and I'm here to let you know that the A Ward Show is now officially brought to you by the Ripple to Wave Foundation, where they're manifesting waves of impact, one ripple at a time. Ripple to Wave empowers volunteers to create real change, from mentoring youth and protecting the environment to supporting those people in need. That includes seniors, veterans, and even animals. Yes, even animals. Every project is a chance to make your ripple in the community, and together, those ripples form waves of impact. The team at Ripple to Wave stays active with projects and events just about every weekend, and they're growing fast. Their Albuquerque, New Mexico team just launched their first project, and they're only getting started since their official launch on June 2nd of 2025. Get involved, volunteer, and learn more at rippletowavefoundation.org. That's Ripple, the number 2, wavefoundation.org. Follow them on all their socials at Ripple, the number 2, Wave Foundation on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to them on YouTube. Together, let's make some waves. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the A Ward Show. I am your host and curator and engineer and videographer. I am all the things. I am A Ward, and I thank you for tuning in to another episode of the A Ward Show. Let's get all the podcast business out the way. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Tell a friend to tell they mama, they cousin, they grandmama and them. Pull up on the A Ward Show. Make sure you guys hit that link tree. Follow me on all my socials, Instagram, TikTok, you know what I'm saying, wherever I'm at. Make sure you guys go support my partners, Ripple to Wave, the man, the myth, the legend behind the intro of the A Ward Show, A Dot, and the man behind the music of what you heard Wednesday's Lost Perception. I said on a couple of previous episodes, last episode, the last What You Heard Wednesday, that obviously this is that time of the year where sports is a little dismal out in these streets. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, tough. And the Super Bowl gets done. It's like, man, okay, I guess we got the NBA. Let's see what's going on over there. MLB's just getting started, spring training fully underway. And we've got the draft coming up for the NFL. We've got the NFL Combine underway. And so, last couple of weeks, I've just been chilling, just kind of seeing what's going on in the streets. But I'm back to talk about these sports that I probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is Yo No Say Nada. All right, there's been a couple of things that have happened over the last couple of weeks. We'll dive into them. And one of the biggest things that dropped was a court decision against the NFL Players Association. And that court decision was a ruling against the NFLPA, letting the streets know about their team report cards. So for those who are unaware, every team, every organization for the NFL drops their yearly report cards on their specific team. And it's all the players, All the players get together and they vote on a multitude of things on how an organization, how that team is running the day-to-day process. And that includes GMs, that includes coaches, that includes all the amenities, right? So locker room, food choices, family choices, and so many other things. And it's a true grading system. It's a A through F, just like in school. And some of these teams, they're on the honor roll. They're magna cum laude, you know what I'm saying? GPA through the roof. Some of these teams are they're going to be held back. And I will say this, normally when they drop these rankings, not always, but there is some correlation to, the grade that these teams get and their facilities and their locker rooms and how the players feel treated and if they're winning or not. It's not always 100%, but it's pretty damn close. You can see the direct correlation between, hey, man, we're taking care of our players. Our players want to be here. They're healthy. They're happy, which means they're playing better. And the owners of these NFL teams, especially these ones that are going to get held back, there's going to be some super seniors out here. They didn't like it. They got pissed off about it, took it to court, and the court ruled in favor of the owners and against the NFL Players Association, and that they are not allowed to have this report come out after they do the grading. And so, first of all, let's just be honest. That's mad corny, and we understand why they're doing it. We understand why the owners were upset, because you have some of these teams that just want to skate by. They want to charge you hella money for the tickets. They don't want to pay. They don't want to upgrade the facilities. They don't want to spend their money. They want to spend the least amount of money, and they want to get the biggest margin they can get. They want to make money without spending money. And I get it. It's a business. But it's a different business where it's about winning and losing. It's not just about sales. It's about the product that you put out there. And the product is your team winning or losing? And are you helping that? And I think what's the most corny about it is that instead of these owners taking real ownership, really trying and saying, hey, you know what? If that's what our players feel, what can we do? You don't have to go over and beyond, but what can we do to improve the facilities, to improve the food options, the lunch options, to improve the family time for people's wives and their significant others and their kids to be able to come and hang out at the facilities, maybe on off days or bye weeks, or even, through training camp, preseason, whatever the case may be. And I think what's the craziest thing is that the NFL uses a third party in the PFF and puts these rankings out every single week on TV. The 31st, this is the 31st PFF ranked running back. This is the 58th PFF ranked tackle. This is the 79th PFF ranked linebacker, inside linebacker at that, because we got a different one for the outside linebacker. And they put it right there on the screen every single week. Used to be, hey, my name is Darius McQuarius. Shout out to Ken Peele. If you guys never seen that skit, it's hilarious. Didn't mean to spit a bar right there, but I did, you know what I'm saying? And it used to be like whatever college they from. Now they put out the PFF ranking 71 out of whatever. And they allow this to be a part of it. And it's also used in contract negotiations when these teams are getting ready to extend or sign a free agent or whatever the case may be. They're like, well, you know what? We can't really pay you like that because you were the 71st out of whatever. It's like, hold on, but did you watch my tape? I was balling. Yeah, but PFF said that you said. So it's okay when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. And the other thing is that most major companies, whether it be Glassdoor or other third parties, maybe through their own company, have review systems by the employees and former employees, where they get to rank whether it be the facilities, whether it be the pay, whether it be the benefits, whether it be the culture. And it's out there for people to see. Now, whether they do anything with that information or not, that's on them as a company. But most major corporations and companies have this in place. Like I said, whether it be a Glassdoor, whatever the case may be. And so, as a company, you should be looking not only, obviously, to make the most money you want, that you can, but there's always a direct correlation to the environment, the culture, the standard of where you work, how it is, what the vibe is like. What are the policies? What are the procedures? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? And success. And your team being successful all the way from the last employee, the new hire, to the CEO, the CFO, the COO. And so I just think it's like, I mean, again, it was court ruled. So that's tough for the NFLPA. But it's some bullshit straight up and down. It's some bullshit straight up and down. And if this is the last time we were able to see those rankings, I hope that players make note of that. And look, the players know amongst themselves what was really happening. So that was just more for us as fans, really, so we could kind of understand what's going on in the day-to-day of the work environment of teams that we invest into, whether it be buying a ticket, whether it be buying the package for the TV, whatever, YouTube, whatever, the NFL package, all that good stuff. That was for us to know, man, are these teams that we're fans of that quite frankly, sometimes, you go through the comment sections, man, sometimes you love the team more than the owner does. It's evident. And that was for us to know, man, at least they trying, because you know what, you can be a fan of a team if they struggling, but they're trying to get to the right spot. They're doing all the things necessary. And this was a way for the ownership of these teams and the NFL to run from that. So hopefully something changes there, but we know typically in the NFL that's not how it works, especially when it comes to the disparity between ownership and players, straight up and down. Let's get into free agency, NFL free agency, NFL trades, all that good stuff. The NFL free agency is going to start pretty soon here this month. And a lot of names, a lot of really, really good, talented football players are going to be available this year. Man, I think like one of the biggest classes of like really, really good free agents that I've seen in a long time. And I think I'm going to go through the list and kind of compile it and look at it and see like who might have the biggest impact depending on where they go, what the situation may be. Because there's a lot of really good talent in there, really good talent. And I think even though some players may not be the most talented out of, whatever their position group is, receiver, whatever, I think that some of those guys may be more impactful because they're going to go to the right situation. So really excited for free agency to see where a lot of these people land. But we'll get into some trades, man. And one of the biggest trades that just happened is Montgomery from the Lions is going down to the Texans in a trade. and what should be an amazing trade for the Texans. But that is yet to be seen because we still don't know what that O-line is going to do. We still don't know what the Texans are going to do with the O-line. We still don't know. They really have to look at that offensive line. Obviously, the Texans are getting back some good skill positions that were hurt last year, and that should help with the run game. Should help a little bit. And you know, we've got to see where C.J. Stroud is and his development. Obviously, he definitely had a bad postseason, and nobody is. You know, I know everybody came at me in the comment sections when I said on TikTok and on this show that, hey, maybe we should just chill out with, you know what I'm saying, just throwing C.J. Stroud under the bus. He's still young, and I still believe that. But two things can be true. He definitely did not play well, and that last game was terrible. I mean, it was just bad. But the offensive coordinator hasn't been consistent. That O-line has not. I'm gonna be nice and say they haven't been consistent. They've had some decent games this year where schematically it worked out for them. But if that O-line can be a little bit better, or they can find some players either through free agency or through the draft to shore that O-line up, I think Montgomery to the Texans is going to be a great move, especially Woody Marks really started to find his pocket towards the end of the season and into the postseason. And so it's not going to be Sonic and Knuckles by any means, because Jahmyr Gibbs is top 3, top 4, top 5 running back in the league. I mean, what he's able to do on any given Thursday, Sunday, Monday in the run game, the pass game is amazing. And those two together were incredible for the Lions. And it's going to suck to not see both of them play together, because I just really, everybody loved that tandem. They kind of set the standard for the, dual running back system. But I think Montgomery and Marks still going to be really good, especially with Marks kind of figuring out his, what he wants to do and figuring out the league a little bit. I definitely think that'll be a really good trade if that O-line can be addressed. Staying in Texas, different city, going on to Dallas, going down there to Jerry World, where nobody knows what Jerry's thinking, except for maybe Jerry's just trying to make the most money. Now, one thing Jerry going to do, he going to spend money on the facilities, on all that. And you got to worry about Jerry not spending money on facilities and the extras. But they extend Javonte Williams to a 3-year, I think, $16 million deal. Great extension there. But the biggest news is Pickens was franchise tagged. And I've seen this either way. I've seen people's commentary go from, okay, yeah, that was a good decision, or no, that was a terrible decision. You should have just, figured out how to give him the extension and pay him. And I think, I don't know, I'm a little, I can see both sides on this, because first of all, Pickens is immensely talented in this league. Immensely talented. And once they finally started to get, with all the injuries and all the BS going on, CD and Pickens playing together, you really saw how explosive this offense can be with both of them. And if they would have let him go, he probably would have got a bag. But I also feel a certain way about big-time receivers, in that it doesn't always directly correlate to championship level winning. And because there's a lot of great receivers out there. Now, JSN had a great year. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. Puka Nacua, I think him and Puka Nacua were the two best receivers pound for pound last season. And obviously they ended up facing each other in a duel in the NFC Championship. But just because you have that guy, and when you tie a lot of money up into them, it creates some cap issues for other players that you need. It doesn't always directly correlate to championship level winning. Can you be a really good offense, really good team? For sure. But there's still so many things that have to go right. The offense has to be called a certain way. Quarterback has to be skilled enough. I mean, look at what's going on down there in Philly. A lot of people feel either way about it. Some people are on Jalen Hurts' side. Some people are on A.J. Brown's side. So I understand somewhat them not, giving him the extension or signing him to, a longer term deal and them tagging him. But then there was also that issue of later in the season. I mean, it looked like he just gave up on a couple of plays when it really mattered, when they really needed him. It could have changed the game. It could have changed the outcome of their season down the stretch on some of these plays that we don't know, but it looked like he gave up. And so maybe, okay, we franchise tag him, and then we'll look at some of the attitude, some of the culture, and what our record where we are at the end of next season, and then go from there. So I don't know if it's a bad decision that they franchise tagged him. I don't know if it's a good decision. I just think it was, I guess I say it's somewhat a good decision because it was the decision that kind of had to be made given all the circumstances. And they've got other things they really have to address. So we'll see. But Jerry gonna do what Jerry does. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get on that podium and he gonna say some wild shit. And Dallas, they have a history of just like waiting to pay players, and then it's always too expensive. And they put themselves in cap hell. So they make really good decisions, and they make boneheaded decisions. I don't understand it. All right, going down to Indianapolis. And let's talk about this because let's get to it. Anthony Richardson has been allowed to seek a trade from the Colts. And I've seen a lot of speculation on this. The Anthony Richardson thing is so intriguing, so interesting to me because it is a situation that I'm not going to say I've never seen before, but I just can't remember a situation like this. Like we've seen teams draft quarterbacks and then move off of them fairly quickly. I mean, look at what happened right here in Arizona. Sorry, Martin, I just didn't want to go with you to Arizona. Where they drafted Josh Rosen, and then they was like, nah, never mind. Kyler Murray. So it happens. But I think the thing with the Colts was they knew he was going to be a project. They knew he was going to be a project. And then they found out that, hey, we're pretty good. I mean, you saw that at the beginning of this year. They go and get Daniel Jones, who balled out for a good amount of the season, then had a couple bad games, then gets injured. So now all the attention is to Taylor, who was balling out for most of the season. But once they were able to get rid of the pass game and just really focus on the run game, it became difficult schematically for them to do anything on offense. And then you have the situation with Richardson where he quits on the team because he's tired. He's just a high school tap out. I can't do it no more, coach. And then he gets hurt. And then he hurts himself while he's hurt. Again, orbital. That just reminded me of Mike Tyson. What's wrong with your back? Spinal. And so it's just a whole weird situation with Anthony Richardson down there for the Colts. I don't know if he ends up being a starter anywhere. Now, I've said this in the past, you have to give these young quarterbacks time to develop, but he was such a project coming out. I mean, he didn't play a lot of college. He didn't play a lot of college. And so he was such a project coming out. I don't know where he goes that he has the opportunity to maybe in a couple years become the franchise quarterback, the guy for the future. I mean, there's guys he can go sit behind. Maybe Detroit, you can sit behind Jared Goff. I've seen some things with maybe the Rams. Kind of a weird situation down in Baltimore with that whole thing happening, new coach and Lamar Jackson, and there's still some rumors floating down there in Baltimore about Lamar and work ethic, which I tend to not believe, but maybe he can go there as a backup. I mean, there's other places he can go, but if you're a team, are you really looking at Anthony Richardson and going, man, this dude could change our franchise in a couple years? I mean, I just think this, and also the stigma of quitting on your team. Cam Newton was an amazing player. And anybody who watched Cam Newton on those Carolina Panther teams, this dude was a beast. And yet all anybody talks about is him not diving on that ball in the Super Bowl. When you quit as a player, it's hard for you to get rid of that stench. But when you quit as a quarterback, when you tap your helmet like Pop Warner, like high school, like I need some water as the quarterback, that's going to stay with you for a while, and everybody knows it, and it's going to be a part of every locker room discussion. Now, he's young enough to get rid of that stigma, to get rid of that stench, especially if he becomes a really, really good player. And I'm rooting for him. I'm always rooting for these young pups, these young boys that are trying to have a future in the NFL. It's very hard to get there, and it's very hard to be great. It's very hard to be good in that sport at that level. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of work. So I think, he kind of got a bad end of the deal with being drafted where he was, being told that the process, the situation was going to be different. But then he didn't help himself by quitting, because you can't have that. It's not a situation like with Carolina where they benched Bryce Young and he just really wasn't ready. And then once he got out of that, you've seen the progression with him. And maybe it could be a situation down the line where he could become like a Sam Darnold, like a Baker Mayfield. Different situation, learned under a really good offensive mind, develop over the next 2 years behind a established quarterback that may be on the back 9, back 3 of their career. And that's why I think some people are saying the Rams. But I don't know if he can develop fast enough for a team to invest. And then what's the compensation that you're going to give to the Colts? Is it worth it? Because that draft compensation we're seeing is some real compensation. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm hoping that Richardson gets another opportunity to play, to have an opportunity to start somewhere and have an opportunity to develop. But we shall see. Tampa Bay is looking to re-sign longtime receiver Mike Evans, who is now a free agent. From what I saw, from what I read, that they are aggressively trying to re-sign him, which is amazing. It's fantastic. And I think they should. And I hope Mike Evans decides to re-sign if the price is right for him. He's already got a championship, so I don't know if maybe he wants to go get another one. But one of the most consistent receivers that we've seen, reminds me a lot of Larry Fitz, and just the full-on consistency that he's provided while he's played in Tampa Bay. And I hope he gets a chance to re-sign with them. I hope he does re-sign with them, because he has the opportunity to be a legacy receiver. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. What ballot, I don't know, because as we've seen, we don't know what ballots, what the criteria is for these ballots. But I do think he has the opportunity to be a legacy receiver. He's obviously going to be a Ring of Honor guy. Like I said, I do think he's going to be a Hall of Famer just based on his consistency, his numbers. I mean, so many years with over 1,000 yards receiving. Incredible. And had he not got hurt, would have had another year. Streak would have still been going. So it'd be great to see him re-sign, maybe for, 3-year deal, 2-year, whatever the case may be. Assess it after that, and then retire and, go down as not only one of the best receivers to ever play, one of the most consistent receivers to ever play, but definitely he'll go down as the best receiver, I think, for Tampa Bay, just because of the amount of years he's been there and the consistency. And that matters, man. When you're just really that good for that long, that matters, especially in the fans' eyes. So really hope they can get it done for Mike Evans down there in Tampa. Like I said earlier, the combine is in full effect. In full effect. They got everybody and their mom down there. They got it down there like it's media row for the Super Bowl. How do you guys feel about the combine? I'm really interested. I want to know. To me, yes, it is a good, somewhat system of measurement for strength, speed, agility, explosiveness. And we've seen some really crazy numbers out there for some of these players. I mean, you got Styles. You got both the brothers, the Styles brothers. But the linebacker, I mean, 6'5", 240, ran a crazy, I think it was like a 4.3 something wild. And the numbers are great. It's great to talk about. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to put it on the film. You have to. And there's a lot of guys that with no pads, and this is going, like I said, this is going all the way to Pop Warner High School, college, NFL, that with no pads, they look like the GOAT. You be like, man, this dude's going to be incredible for 20 years. But he played quarterback. He ain't going to play no 20 years. He going to be incredible for 20 years. I'm telling you, man, look at the measurables. They put them pads on, man. And the NFL is that jump from college to the NFL is incredible. It is. It's a big change. So I think at the end of the day, I think it's a good opportunity for some of these players that go to smaller schools for them to get the looks, the opportunities that they probably wouldn't have gotten. That people are not just going to go out there and look at them because they're not in one of these Power 5 or Division I schools. But for the most part, turn the film on, we can kind of see who can get down, who gets busy, and who can't. Sometimes you might find a gem, but for the most part, we can see what's really cracking off. You know what I'm talking about? Now let's get into the MLBZ. With spring training all the way, fully out here in these streets. I have not been to a spring training game yet. because I refuse to go to Camelback Ranch where the Dodgers play because them tickets is outrageous. Wild for them home games. And then when they play away games close to where I reside, they always play during the week. So I'm going to have to look at some of the schedule because I know spring training is going to end in a couple weeks here. Got the World Baseball Classic cracking off. But the biggest thing this year that's being implemented into Major League Baseball, and they tested it out in spring training of last year, and now it's going to be in a regular season, is the Automated Ball Strike Challenge Review System, the ABS. And not IBS, the ABS. You know what I'm talking about? And I've seen a lot of people. I've seen people be upset about it. I've seen people love it. I was able to see it in real time last year through spring training, and they were just testing it out, just like they did the pitch clock a couple years before they actually implemented it into the regular season. And I will say this, the MLB does a great job of, at least over the last 5 or 6 years, of really trying to figure out how they can improve the sport, whether it be speeding the game up by just 30 minutes, which has been tremendous in being able to watch the game. I know everybody hated the pitch clock to begin with, and then everybody figured it out. And these games being done in 2.5 hours is amazing. And I think through the new review system, I think it's going to be another win for the MLB. Now, for those who are not aware, this review system, the Automated Ball Strike, it's basically a digital review system. The catcher, the batter, and the pitcher can challenge the call of the ump when it comes to the pitch. So whether it's a ball or a strike, pretty simple. And they basically say, I don't like that call. It pops up on the Jumbotron. Jumbotron does a digital representation of the actual pitch. And it happens like that. Bada boom, bada bang. We ain't got to sit here and talk about it. Run it. Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't. All right. And you get 2 challenges. If you're successful, then you can retain those challenges. And I think it's going to be amazing. First of all, the calling, the way these umps have been calling games, and it's been an issue for a long time because, they have a union for the umps in the MLB. But it's been so atrocious, man. Some of these games, you're like, how can you not see that? And these pitchers are amazing, man. Like, these dudes at the highest level have so much control over where they can throw the ball. And now they're throwing moving pitches at high speeds. I mean, drop balls. I mean, it's so hard to figure out where these guys are throwing the ball. And typically, for the most part, they're in the strike zone. They might be at the corner. They might be right at the outside. But for the most part, they're in the strike zone. But when they're not, they're not. And these umps, they shrink the strike zone. They might change the strike zone as the game is going on. Typically, I get it. For certain players, certain pitchers, you do. There's that human element, and that's going to happen. That happens throughout all officiating. Nobody's going to get it right. But the MLB has known this has been a problem for years, and they haven't addressed it, and they're finally addressing it. And if for nothing else, I think we're all hoping that at least the umps try to be more consistent. They're not going to be perfect. This review system is probably not going to be perfect. It's probably going to get tweaked, next offseason, going into spring training. They might change it to 3 challenges. They might, who knows? But I do think that this review system, it should be really good, and it's not going to affect the game so much that we're going to really notice. And I think it'll be good in the postseason as well. So the other thing that's going on right now is obviously I'm a Dodgers fan. There's been a lot of talk about the Dodgers, spending all this money. Don't worry about it. Don't hate. Don't even worry about it, dog. Don't even worry about it. But I'll tell you what, all the complaining is going to lead to a salary cap. And nobody wants that. You might think you do, but you don't. And I know who doesn't want it is the players, because they've been asking all these guys from these different teams, what you think about what's going on down there in L.A.? And every single one of them is like, man, I love it. Team can pay, let them pay. Because the one thing they don't want is a salary cap. They want to get the bag. And I just think some of these organizations skate by and disrespect you. It goes back to the NFL thing with the report cards. Some of these baseball teams disrespect the fans of those certain teams by not trying to be aggressive and pay some players. Now, I get it. Certain payrolls are larger, but some teams, let's be honest, some of these teams ain't trying. They just ain't trying. I know there's markets. It's a lot more complex than just you should pay them and you should not. I get that. I understand that. But some teams just ain't trying. And when you look at some of these teams, the highest payrolls, it does somewhat correlate to winning and being in the postseason. And so you've seen a couple teams get out of their comfort zones over the last few years and start to pay a little bit more. Teams that have been known to just let go of players and not really have a good offer for them. And look, let's be honest. If you're in LA, you in Cali, man, them taxes whooping your ass. So just because they get in the bag, man, they getting taxed. Go look up the whole Sam Darnold bonus situation from the Super Bowl. Them Cali taxes, man, no respect at all. Trust me. I promise you. So now I did see this, and it's an idea. I don't think it's even gonna really be. I don't think it'll ever happen. But instead of a salary cap, let's have a salary floor. Every team has to spend a certain amount in their salary, and they can't go under that. They have to spend whatever, however many billions, millions, whatever. And I think that would help. I think some of these teams that are just like, yeah, man, we don't care. Y'all paying for the tickets. Y'all paying for, the extra innings package, and you guys are paying for the MLB package. We getting our money. We got the TV deal, man. We good. We good. We ain't got y'all still showing up to the games. Y'all still buying the concessions. We're good. Now, I think it would force some of those teams to really be like, okay, we at least got to try to bring some people in here. And then if not, if they can't get a bunch of guys in there, then at least the guys that are good, that are, part of these organizations, part of these teams, they can pay them a little bit more. So I don't think it'll happen. I just think it's an idea that I think it should be looked at. I don't think it's going to happen. But stop complaining, man. Because the salary cap is not going to fix crap in baseball. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a big talking decision for the CBA, for the collective bargaining agreement. And, one thing about MLB, man, them players go on strike, bro. Them players will be like, man, we good. Nope. We need that in the contract. So, really looking forward to the MLB season. Really, really looking forward to it. Overall, just as a fan of baseball, So, that's all I got. We will dive into some more baseball, some more NFL offseason stuff. I might talk about some basketball. I just haven't really been feeling it, to be honest with you. But we might talk about it. We might. But definitely gonna get into this MLB season for sure. And then all the offseason madness, the madness of the NFL acquisitions, trades, and draft and all that. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna get into all that. So appreciate you guys for tuning in to another week of the A Ward Show. Make sure you pull up on me for What You Heard Wednesdays, where I do album reviews, music reviews, and just sit down and talk. We listen to a little bit of the album. We talk about it. It's a good time. It's a real good time. You know what I'm saying? You guys make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff that y'all already know that everybody said, but I'm saying it here too. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you guys hit that link tree. Hit up all my socials. Follow me, TikTok, Instagram, the social streets. Make sure you guys go holler at my partners. Ripple the Wave, doing great things. A Dot, who does the intro for What You Heard, and the homie Lost Perception, major Grammy nominated and all that. Who does the music for What You Heard Wednesdays. And like I said, appreciate you guys. You guys have a fantastic week. Make sure you tell a friend, tell their mama, their cousins, their grandmama, and them. Pull up on the A Ward Show. And I'll see you jive turkeys next episode.